Let's have some fun.
Yeah, there you go. All right.
In a game of cards, you play the hand you're dealt.
Lucky you.
Same goes for the game of life.
Are we having fun yet or not?
Amid the banter and spilled beer
You need a bib? Or?
at this weekly game, you get hints
We had to follow behind the Marines and clean up after them when we were out there.
of the hands these men were forced to play when they were barely out of high school.
Sounds like a fun job.
Oh yeah, it was really great.
Flip through the photos and we'll introduce you to the Michael brothers.
This is me looking cool.
There's Jim, the
really
oldest
good
of
picture
7
of us
in
on
this
the-
old
on
school
top of the
Catholic
track.
family.
Well, I think they should have stopped after 1 when they had perfection, but
Next up is Jack, a year behind,
Yeah, I was in really good shape at that time.
and Dennis,
Three Stooges. No? Larry and Curly.
plus a fourth, their friend Don Holm, who grew up across the alley from the Michaels in Racine.
Got into a little mischief, but enough said about that.
All 4 served in the Army in Vietnam. All 4 came home.
We all got back, which is like a blessing for all of us.
And all 4 joined Stars and Stripes Honor Flight on a trip to D.C., together, as always. The Honor Flight's mission is to thank veterans for their sacrifice. It's the opposite of what they got 50 years ago, coming home from the war.
People were swearing at me, calling me baby killer, spitting. It was pretty ugly.
Decades later, at Washington Dulles, they're greeted by a tunnel of red, white, and blue. It's a start.
That's when I was a kid.
The way the deck was shuffled, Dennis was the first to go to war,
Figured, let's get this over. We're going to get drafted sooner or later. Let's get this over with.
manning artillery stations in the mountains.
Then pretty soon I'm by myself. But I said, hey, I'm not going to die, go down not fighting. So I kept blasting.
Don was dealt in next, a combat medic,
You're the closest thing there is to a doctor.
trying to save lives after just 8 weeks of training.
When you're like 19, 20 years old, you grow up real quick.
Jim left behind a wife and daughter for the thick of the fighting in the infantry.
Bronze Star for Valor, 2 Purple Hearts.
Some wounds never heal, no matter how many medals you get.
On November 25th, 69. I'm not sure what it's for, and I'd love to forget it. I see it every day.
That's right.
And then there's Jack. Knowing what Jim was going through, the hardest play became an easy one.
I could go to Vietnam and he would be replaced because you can't have 2 brothers in a combat zone.
Jack said, "Deal me in," to get his brother out.
He would have done the same for me.
Might have saved my life, I don't know.
And I never had a date with her again.
For much of the day in D.C., it's like we never left that card table in Racine.
We called him Stokes because he always had a cigarette in his mouth. And when he played basketball, he'd be dribbling. And when he dribbled, the basketball would go high and he hit the cigarette and sparks would fly out. They called him Stokes.
But there are moments that ground them.
I made it to Arlington.
Like the stop at Arlington Cemetery, where the price of freedom is measured row after row after row. And in a long walk past the Vietnam Veterans Memorial, where any one of the 58,000 names could have been theirs.
John Naughton Jr. and Jack Pomeroy, November 25th, 1969.
It's the day Jim can't forget, the day he earned his Bronze Star and a second Purple Heart.
The guy next to me got shot in the leg and got him out. But I didn't know those other guys were up there. I'd have been stupid enough to try and get them, but didn't know about it.
He saved one man's life. All he thinks about are the 2 he couldn't.
It's an emotional experience, it really is. And the fact that I'm not on there, I've been blessed, but those guys didn't make it.
The weight of this trip goes largely unspoken.
You don't have to tell me, I know how you feel.
But there's power in the shared experience.
Very moving. And it's nice to be recognized for what we did.
Dennis! Mitch! Michael! One of our Michael brothers!
On the flight home, mail call.
Graciano!
envelopes full of nothing but recognition for each of them.
Donald Stokes home.
What a lousy way to get a subpoena.
There's always room for a laugh with this crew.
Well, it's the best Father's Day ever. Dear Dad, your courage and bravery will never be forgotten. You truly are a hero. That's cool. I think we done good. Exceptional day.
Yes, much better than I ever expected. I wasn't sure if I even wanted to take the trip.
Back in Milwaukee, there's one final sign of how far they've come. A sea of support from complete strangers and their closest family, including the fourth Michael boy.
I'm the young, thin, handsome one. Stokes!
Hey, how you doing? How you doing there, buddy?
By luck of the draw, he wasn't drafted like the others.
Thank you for everything you did, buddy. Our hero.
Spared the experience, while his brothers played their cards for him. With photojournalist Eric Litsheim,
Love you, brother. Love you, bro.
Deffenbaugh, Fox 6 News.